More Plates, More Dates, also known as Derek, just dismantled Prime, and I'm gonna walk you through this video, and we're gonna get into the science of hydration, like what you actually want to drink when you want to rehydrate your body. We're not gonna get into what tastes the best, what is the best marketing, we're going to get into scientifically what you want to rehydrate. When you sweat, what do you lose? How do you replenish it so your workouts are good, your blood flow is good, your pumps are good, you don't cramp up, and we're gonna find out if Prime from Logan Paul is the drink for this. And these guys are in some beef, so let's see what's going on.
So it's not bad because there's sugar in it, but it is salty. You know, maybe because there's half a fucking gram of sodium per serving, like, I don't know.
This is how this beef kind of started. More Plates, More Dates basically is dismantling Prime, saying that it doesn't have enough sodium. And Logan Paul actually made a video comparing Liquid IV and Prime, and he was like, well, ours isn't salty at all. Which is such a dumb thing to say. I can't believe he really put that out as somebody who's pushing an electrolyte beverage, because sodium is the main thing you need to rehydrate. So him saying his electrolyte isn't salty, it's not really a good look. You kind of want that.
But Prime is delicious because it's just potassium and sucralose. That's the fucking reason, bro. So let's get to the formula again and kind of round this out. So we have, again, the basis of the whole thing is essentially that this is not an actual electrolyte formula, rather it is a potassium drink with sucralose. That is what it is.
Exactly. That is exactly what Prime is. It's potassium and sucralose. It's basically water, potassium, sucralose. That's sort of the main things you're getting from that. And this is why I do have a beef with it. I mean, when you look at our electrolytes, this is why it's a powder also, is because we have sodium, potassium, magnesium in the right dosages, no sugar whatsoever, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial food dyes.
It is something that you can drink on a daily basis as a enjoyable drink. That is what it is. It's not a actual performance-based, athlete-focused electrolyte blend. It is something that you could sip on in class, walking around, whatever, that is nearly void of calories that tastes good. That is what it is. Now, why would you want potassium over this other stuff? It is the electrolyte that is the most neglected, in my opinion. Like, at least from the RDA perspective, when you look at like magnesium, like, yeah, this is something most people are deficient in too, but almost nobody's deficient in sodium. But most people are way off of the 4,700 milligram, like, typical goal of potassium. No one even knows how much they need. It's not crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people are deficient in potassium. So I have 200 milligrams per scoop in there. Eat bananas. Avocados actually have 3 times the amount of potassium than a banana. But yeah, get your dietary potassium, and sweet potatoes are great for potassium as well.
Realize why, or it's not, what am I even trying to say? It's no surprise that a lot of people have blood pressure issues when their electrolyte balance is totally fucking out of whack. You have individuals that are salting the shit out of everything. And that's not a bad thing, by the way, if you are mindful of everything else in your lifestyle as well as your diet. However, when you have a just disproportionate amount of sodium, you don't have adequate amounts of magnesium, you don't have adequate amounts of potassium. And again, the potassium burden that you could otherwise get from your diet for optimization is way higher than what most people are getting. Yeah, you can get away with just sipping on potassium drinks pretty much all day within reason, and probably achieve a better, more stable electrolyte profile in your diet model. So this is actually, aside from what your argument is if sucralose is healthy or unhealthy, like, this is something that could help you adhere to your calorie deficit.
I think sucralose is not really good for your gut health, but that's another point.
Take per day with greater ease, which is something a lot of people really actually need to do, but it's not the electrolyte formula for athletes. This is not focused for athletes and designed for athletes whatsoever with 40 milligrams of sodium. Let's think about here, if we're designing an electrolyte formula, the purpose is hydration. We are trying to achieve.
And again, that was my goal with our electrolyte, something designed for athletes. I'm not worried about something where people are like, wow, this tastes like so good. It tastes like candy. It does taste amazing. Our electrolytes taste delicious. But they're designed for athletic performance. What's gonna help you in the gym? What's gonna help you when you're playing your sport? That's what I want.
Achieve a state of like heightened performance through replenishing lost electrolytes that should already be in balance given your diet model too. So let's look at the elements or the liquid IV breakdown. We have 500 milligrams of sodium. So when he mentions as a criticism, it tastes kind of salty. It's like, well, good fucking luck getting away from the salty taste when you have over 500 plus milligrams of sodium in a product. Like Element, I believe, is a gram. Liquid IV, 500 milligrams. And you have Prime, which is 40. So no, we're not one-upping them by putting in 871 milligrams. Like, no.
I think Element's a way better product than Liquid IV, just because of all the sugar in Liquid IV. Now, I don't think sugar is evil or carbohydrates are evil. I would just prefer to get my sugar. It only has 11 grams, right? So it's not some crazy amount of sugar. Why don't you just get that from honey? Eating a piece of fruit. There's gonna be prebiotics in there. It's gonna be better for your gut health. There's gonna be vitamins and minerals in there. Your body's gonna work better with fruit than drinking processed sugar.
You are way the fuck below the threshold, bro. Like, you're way off the mark from something that is effective, in my opinion, for a actual performance formula. So 500 milligrams of sodium. Now, when you look at their actual potassium amount, 370. Like, you could definitely make an argument that maybe that's too low. Maybe that's, you know, maybe that's not enough.
Yeah, so basically Logan Paul and these other companies too, there's a lot of them that say, they just use the word electrolytes. This has a lot of electrolytes, but really what it has usually is just potassium. There are multiple electrolytes you need to rehydrate, sodium, potassium, magnesium being the main ones. Liquid IV doesn't have magnesium, which I don't think is a great idea. And Prime doesn't have enough magnesium, and it also doesn't have enough sodium.
It kind of depends on what your goal is though, because when we look at the actual breakdown of potassium content versus sodium versus chloride versus magnesium and calcium in the body, when you are sweating it out, like, what are you actually excreting out of your goddamn face, your butt cheeks, your goddamn armpits? What are you sweating out when you are exercising? This is a very, very good graphical representation, in my opinion, by Taylor Sherman, as well as Claire Seekin. I'm not gonna be able to say this properly, I apologize. And Shelby Johnson. So here we have the athlete. He is sweating, or she is sweating. The average athlete loses 1 to 3 liters of sweat per hour. Sweat is primarily made up of water, but it also contains electrolytes that have essential roles in the body. So again, it would probably be in our best interest to replace these in the proportions that we're actually sweating them out, you would think, right? Sodium and chloride are the most abundant electrolytes in sweat, with potassium, magnesium, and calcium present in lower amounts. Athlete example, a runner who loses 3 liters of fluid in 1 hour is losing 1,380 to 5,520 milligrams of salt. Sodium, chloride, and potassium work together.
Yeah, so right here, I mean, we know this, obviously we formulated a salt-based electrolyte. You mainly sweat out salt and potassium. So this is why in our formula, 1 scoop will give you 1,000 milligrams of sodium from sea salt also, so there's more trace minerals in sea salt and pink Himalayan salt. A lot of companies use sodium chloride, like LMNT, use sodium chloride, which basically does not have as many trace minerals as sea salt and pink Himalayan salt. And then we get into potassium. We have 200 milligrams of potassium in there, and then we have 60 milligrams of magnesium from magnesium glycinate as well. We're not throwing in oxide or stearate or these other poor forms of magnesium. Citrate causes gut distress in many people. Why would you want that when you're working out? Calcium, I think you should get calcium from your diet personally.
Like, does this look like the proportion of potassium to sodium that we are losing in our sweat? Like, does this look accurate whatsoever? Does this look representative of what an athlete is actually requiring to reach optimum performance? Fuck no, dude. We have sweat composition in descending order of priority, essentially, with sodium being at the top of the totem pole. We have sodium and chloride and potassium working together to help regulate and maintain fluid balance. Magnesium and calcium are essential for optimal muscle function and play an important role in energy metabolism. Losing as little as 2% of your body weight during a workout can result in decreased aerobic performance. For a 200-pound athlete, that is 4 pounds of sweat lost during a workout. Water and electrolytes should be consumed throughout the day to maintain adequate fluid levels as well as optimal electrolyte levels, if required, based on your actual requirements of your exercise regimen and your diet model, hydration levels, etc. Electrolyte replacement is most important during high intensity training lasting greater than 1 hour. So no, not just like fucking sitting around, not some kid who watches KSI react to videos and shit. I'm not saying they're like bad people necessarily, by the way. Like, KSI seems like a dope dude. Logan has some questionable ethics when it comes to what he sells, but ultimately, like, they are entertaining guys and they're behind a product. But the way they represent it is frankly misleading.
Yeah, that's my big gripe. I mean, I don't, you want to sell Prime, that's okay, but they've taken such a grip on young people, like those young kids I ran into at Target. They were like, we think Prime hydrates us the best, when it doesn't. It's not proven to. We see right here, sodium, potassium, magnesium, that's what you need to rehydrate. And they've also just sort of duped people where I'll let people try this sometimes and be like, oh, it's pretty salty. The fact that athletes and people going into the gym are not used to drinking a salt-based electrolyte or knowing about the benefits of supplementing with sodium while they work out, it's just a clear signal that we haven't educated people properly on what they lose when they sweat, how to replenish it. And a lot of people just haven't tried a salt-based electrolyte, because when they do try this, they experience the benefits in the gym. Everybody, almost every single person who's tried these buys them again, goes back to them, because when they take them, their lifts are better, their pumps are better, their mental focus is better. And this is because you're replenishing what you lose when you sweat, you're increasing your muscle signaling, you're decreasing muscle cramping, and you're also getting better blood flow through the sodium potassium pump.
It is going to be sodium chloride, potassium after that, then magnesium almost negligibly, and calcium almost negligibly. But again, ultimately, the sodium density is probably going to be the most indicative of, is this something that's actually representative of being useful for athletic performance? Is this something that is going to be actually useful to a fucking professional football player in the duration the match is, a star player who is sweating their goddamn balls off?
Salt is the most important thing while we work out. Now, I sort of disagree with them a bit here because we know from studies that about 70% of Americans are magnesium deficient, and magnesium can be a tremendous performance enhancer, and it can also basically help with your brain health, with your cognitive health. So I am a fan of supplementing with some magnesium, but we do have 60 milligrams in there, so we're not megadosing you with magnesium. I take magnesium separately. Also, when I go to bed, I take our magnesium potassium capsules. But overall, I think what we've learned from this is that Prime is selling you a load of bullshit when they say that there are tons of electrolytes. It's not a wrong statement, but it's not the type of electrolytes that you really want if you're an athlete, if you're lifting weights, if you're going to a sports practice, if you're training hard in any way and you want to stay hydrated, you want a good salt-based electrolyte with sodium, potassium, and magnesium. That is what we have. You can get these on santacruzpaleo.com or on Amazon. Type in Santa Cruz Paleo, get some electrolytes, throw a scoop in a big thing of water. Yes, they will taste a little salty, but you'll also get the performance benefits of a real electrolyte formula. So yeah, let me know anything else you guys want me to react to, what you think of Prime, let me know below. And any questions you have about our electrolytes, about Prime, about other products, let me know and I'll get to it.